What's happening, guys? Martin is back again. Welcome back to Lifestyle Journey. In today's video, we're going to discuss about text game and what you can do if you're left unread. Now, realistically, keeping it simple, there's nothing you can actually do. We don't know the circumstances of what the other person is doing. How could I say? They could have seen the message and then something's happened, something's changed. But at the same time, what we can go off is that of action. Now, I think it's best to say let's not double text. We shouldn't be doing any double texting. If someone's left me unread, depending on how long it is, you shouldn't be doing any double texting. But there's also a time frame to a point of where this person's taking the piss compared to actually, okay, maybe they're just not interested. And that's where you probably have to accept it. Now, one thing I think we have to remember as men, as well as men, these scenarios that we come across aren't necessarily, how could I say, there's no exact script in every scenario. There's always going to be a unique set of circumstances depending on what's going to happen. Sometimes the person generally could not have seen the message, and then other times something could have happened where they've seen it but they've just not responded. This is going to happen, yes. However, what we're looking for is that person to then say, sorry, I didn't see your message, such and such, even if they respond the next day. If it's been read, however, and there's no response, now it really kind of depends on what you're asking. Is it a kind of scenario where it's just not really much going on, the conversation's a bit stale, there was nothing to respond to? That is what it is. I mean, who can you blame for that? If you've asked a bit of a risky question to try and work things out, I think you have to realize when you decided on that question, it probably was a 50-50. It might have been a gamble. And if you weren't getting the energy already to get it to that point, if you just thought, you know what, Hail Mary, stop, let me just try and just see if I can get this one, hole in one, let's see what happens. You've got to also accept that there may not be a response. It could be read, but the way it's perceived on the other side, you just don't know. And that's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, you could wake up the next day and you get a message back. That's going to happen as well. But there are also times as well that you have to accept that if you're going to take that shot and you're going to try, you may not get a response back. It's like tennis, isn't it? It's not going back over the net. If someone's got a habit of always leaving you unread, and I've noticed as well that in life that's going to happen as well, it probably means that that person's probably not too interested in you, or it probably means at the same time that there's somebody else in the picture. And if that is the case, the best thing you can do is that if they contact you, I would say try and have a little bit of indifference. Don't be too connected to the outcome. If you want to say something specifically, you can say it, but also be willing to accept that there may not be a response coming back. Equally, if this person's taking forever to come back to you, and again, that could be annoying within itself, then I think you also have to say maybe there's something else going on in this person's life, and have to kind of accept that. You can respond, but maybe you're not as inclined to respond immediately, or equally, you may just take a bit of time. You may decide, actually, I'm going to just maybe take 5 on this one, park it to the side for a minute, even a day, and then I'll come back the next day and then go from there. Just depends on how the conversation's going. You can tell in your own way if this person is interested by the way they respond. I can speak to one lady and she's taking, let's say, I don't know, half a day to send a few lines back. To me, that just suggests to me that the person's not really that interested. They're keeping the conversation going for whatever reason. Don't get me wrong, sometimes these circumstances can flip and can go in your favor, but at the same time, that's slightly a longer game to play. And depending on where you are, depending on what you're doing, depending on how much time you have, it may not really be worth investing too much, or at least keeping that person in a high esteem. I think the way we have to look at it as well, guys, is you need to make your, how could I say, your perspective be one of, she kind of needs to qualify herself for you. Now, don't get me wrong, the lady may have a lot going on, she may be very attractive and everything else, but it doesn't work like that for ladies. And I think is as well also, if that person's not giving you an opportunity to try and have any type of discussion with them, it's very minimal discussion, minimal responses, then I think it's just a sign they're not that interested. They don't really want to know, and it doesn't matter really how you met them, it just is what it is. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes things can change, people can come circle back around, but I won't really hold any type of hope in my mind if the text is just pretty much poor, nothing's coming back and you're struggling, just getting given crumbs. Nobody wants scraps and nobody wants crumbs, just to have a conversation. And if that's what's happening, you feel like you're begging, best thing to do is keep it short and sweet. If you are going to say something, or don't even respond at all, and just keep it moving. Maybe this person may reach out to you again in the future and say, hey, I've not heard from you, what's going on? Or if you leave it on a very short text and say, cool, thank you, nonchalant, and that's it. Move on, keep it moving, keep it flowing, and go from there. So practice body game, guys, because this, I think, is so important. It's a side point, but still very important for what these videos are about. And at the same time, keep focused, stay focused, keep going. And things will change as well, but change is not only constant in the universe. But as long as you keep going and you don't just hold on to one person and hoping that person's going to text you back, because I think that's where the mistakes can happen. If that's not the perspective you have, I think the universe will change for you as well. Leave your comments down below, guys. See you next video. Peace.